Hi everyone, welcome to the free 3-day training called Manifesting Made Simple. Today the topic is going to be mindfulness, and I'm going to go into some detail about that here in just a minute about how that relates to manifesting, and we're going to talk a lot about the neurological benefits of mindfulness but also the spiritual benefits. So I'm going to give everybody a moment here to hop on while I go ahead and share this video in my group as well. We have a lot to cover. I'm going to try to get it all in within 30 minutes, and then there'll be a Q&A afterwards. So if you're watching this video and you're not live and you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave your comments below because I'll still answer them even though I'm not live anymore. So go ahead and do that. And just one more, give some time for some people to hop on. Okay, perfect. 1 second. Just one more second and then we're going to get started here. So there'll be a Q&A at the end. If you have questions, go ahead and pop them in the comment box below. And I'll get to those at the end. Sorry, you can't do this well until you're live, so that's why I have to take a second. But that gives everybody time to hop on, so. Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna go hop over there and make sure it's streaming live inside the group. Then we'll get started. So if you hop on, go ahead and introduce yourself. And again, if you're watching the replay, I'll get to all the questions here at the end of the training. Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome. If this is your first time joining me, my name's Sarah with Soul Polish Coaching, and I help people master mindset and mindfulness for manifesting. And this is, something I'm really passionate about because implementing these, these teachings in my own personal life has helped me transform on many levels, on not only just a physical level, but a mental level, emotional level, and spiritual level. Sorry, I'm trying to let my chair down a little bit. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So there's 3 components. If you hop on, go ahead and introduce yourself and say where you're at, what part of the world you're joining in from. And just so you know, again, to recap, there will be a Q&A after the training, and then there'll also, I'll take your live questions at the end, and I'm also gonna give you some tips on how to get started. So mainly we're going to talk about mindfulness today. The entire Manifesting Made Simple is a 3-part series, so I'm going to be live today, Wednesday, and Thursday. Hi, you guys. Go ahead and say hi. Oh, New York. Perfect. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Gabriel. Okay, so we're going to get started just because I'm very conscious of your time, and I want to get as much in as possible. And so I'm going to be glancing up here at my notes a little bit because there's a lot to fit in a short period of time because I want to be able to get to all your questions. Okay, so just to recap, the series is going to be 3 parts: mindfulness today, mindset tomorrow, and then how it all ties into the manifesting process on Thursday. All the same time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So hopefully you can join me for all 3. And if you're watching this on my Facebook page, if you share this on your wall, like and share it, because I'm going to be giving out 3 free passes to my course, The Habit Lab, to people that have shared the video. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're going to get started with mindfulness. This is a hot buzzword. A lot of people have heard about mindfulness or meditation, and mindfulness is a form of meditation, but it's also, it goes beyond meditation. Actually, I'm going to take that back. Meditation is one of the most effective forms of mindfulness, but there's actually many forms of mindfulness. So I'm going to touch on that briefly, the different forms of mindfulness that you can incorporate into your day. But I'm going to talk a lot about the meditation, mindfulness meditation, because of the science behind it and how well it helps you rewire your brain for success, which is obviously something that's going to help you in the manifesting process. So I'm going to talk a lot about the physical benefits, neurological benefits, and the spiritual benefits of mindfulness. So let's get started. So mindfulness is, it's rooted in Buddhism and made more popular in the West by Jon Kabat-Zinn. But I'm not going to get into the history of mindfulness too much. I'm just going to dive right into practical ways that you can, implement this into your life and understand why it's important. So, mindfulness is proven to increase confidence levels, optimism, and emotional regulation, happiness, even physical health and immunity. It's been shown to reduce stress, reduce anxiety, reduce self-doubt, worry, and fear. And so obviously I'll tie that into the manifesting process later. And first I'm going to talk about those physical benefits, and then we'll get to the spiritual benefits. Okay, so I'm just making sure I'm not missing something here. One second, I want to make sure that everybody post your questions. Perfect. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to toggle between the Facebook page and the group to make sure that I don't miss anybody's questions, or where you're from, or saying hi and stuff like that. So okay, so we'll get started here. I just wanted to give everybody a couple minutes to jump on, but we're going to get started. So okay, so when you're talking about mindfulness, it's really important to understand the connection with your brain, because you are a byproduct of your habits, and you're a byproduct of the conditioning that you've wired yourself neurologically to do. So you can actually wire yourself to be a worrier or full of anxiety and fear. You can actually condition your brain to be more, more in a state of fear, more in a state of worry. And you may know chronic worriers in your life, and you can tell if someone's just teeters more towards optimism or more towards pessimism. And we'll get to that on mindset tomorrow more. But mindfulness, what is it? Mindfulness is a self-reflective strategy. So it's a little different than just meditation in general. Mindfulness is where you really indulge your senses. You really start to tap into your self-aware, become more self-aware and tapping into all of your different senses. So for example, a focused meditation would be something where you sit down and you start to focus in on one thing and focus your attention on your breath or something like that, and always keep bringing your attention back to that. Mindfulness meditation is where you become more aware of everything. So if you were sitting in meditation, you might become more aware of the sounds around you, or the taste in your mouth, or the feeling that you get when you're sitting in the meditation posture or sitting on a meditation cushion. The feelings that you're getting that are emanating from your heart space, or maybe from your gut, because there's so many neurons in your gut that produce emotions and feelings. So it's a technique to help you become more self-reflective. It's a technique that helps you become more aware. So mindfulness on a neurological level has been shown to help you rewire your brain to the parts of your brain that are associated with optimism and confidence and self-awareness. And it's also more of a gateway to your intuition. Now, one second here, let me make sure. Hi Nate, how are you? Thanks for joining. That's funny. South Africa, thank you for joining in. That's awesome. Okay, where did I lost my thought? Okay, let me gather my thoughts real quick. Okay, so this is important to understand because when you practice mindfulness for about 60 to 90 days, you can literally start to tap into those more positive aspects of perception, which is huge when it comes to the manifesting process. Now, I'm going to leave you with some tips towards the end of this, but on a spiritual level, so we already know that mindfulness is well documented scientifically to help us rewire our brain. It takes about 60 to 90 days to make a new habit. And basically, how you're perceiving things, whether you're more on the optimistic side or the pessimistic side, is going to determine your feelings and your attitudes towards things. And then your attitudes are then going to determine what you take action on and what you don't take action on. So you can see that your inner reality is creating your outer reality. And a lot of times that concept sounds very woo-woo, but on a scientific level, it's actually documented and proven. And so whether you're with me and you're more into the scientific, thank you for the hearts. I love those. Thank you. Thank you for joining. When you jump on live, go ahead and share where you're at and say hello. So, I lost my train of thought there because every time I look up and stop and look at the video, I lose my train of thought. So let me glance at my notes real quick. Whether or not you're more into the science aspect or more into the woo-woo metaphysical community, you can see how there's a correlation between, I'm going to tie it in here, of how your inner reality creates your outer reality. And this is referred to as a spiritual law of correspondence, okay? So, we cover what mindfulness is. It's a self-reflective strategy. And at the end, I'll give you some tips on how to incorporate it to where you can make it really effective in your daily life and really help, kickstart your manifesting abilities. But also not just kickstart your manifesting abilities, all of the benefits that go along with it, which is better immunity, better health, a longer lifespan, higher confidence, higher self-esteem, and things like that, and less stress, less worry, less anxiety. Okay, so another point on the physical aspect of neurological benefits of mindfulness is it's actually shown to scientifically to reduce your size of your amygdala, which is the small almond-sized part of your brain that regulates fear. And so that's really interesting too. And so I always say when you're creating, we got to talk about fear for a second here for you to understand why this is so important, okay? Because when you are entering any phase of your life that is out of your comfort zone, your brain is wired to induce fear, okay? So there's two types of fear. You have real fear, which is when your life is being threatened, and then you have ego-driven fear or emotional fear, and that could look like, sorry, I'm getting messages here on my phone. I don't know how to turn off while I'm live. It's very distracting. Emotional-driven fear is, you may just be trying to start a new job, or you may be contemplating leaving a relationship, or you may be contemplating a move to a different part of the world or a different part of the country. Just anything that gets you out of your comfort zone and what your normal day-to-day reality is going to induce fear. If that's normal, your brain is wired for that, okay? So no fear equals no change. And so you might as well get used to the fact that you're going to have some of that fear step in. So you have to be able to shine a light on the fear when it pops up, okay? So you have the life-threatening fear, which is legit. That's there to keep you safe. Then you have this emotional fear, which is also just designed to keep you safe and secure in your little comfort zone. But if your comfort zone is something that you're not happy with, and so if your comfort zone is something that you're not happy with, then you're going to want to step through that fear, and that's the only way you're going to be able to create positive change in your life. So you can apply these mindfulness techniques whether you're trying to upgrade your lifestyle and up-level that, or whether it's trying to up-level your business, whether it's trying to up-level your health, whatever it is. Doubt, worry, fear are normal, and they will pop up. Ego-driven fear is normal. Emotional-driven fear is normal. Mindfulness helps you shrink that fear. Mindfulness sheds light on that fear, okay? And so this brings us into some of the spiritual aspects of that. Mindfulness is a doorway to your intuition because of the self-awareness that it cultivates, and awareness is key. And so this is where we're going to tie it into the manifesting process. Awareness is pillar 1 in my 7-pillar formula for manifesting. And that is because you can't change what you're not aware of, right? Awareness is the doorway for manifesting. And here's why. What you focus on will expand in your life. And so you don't even have to necessarily figure out all the different things that aren't necessarily working in your life. You just have to be able and willing to redirect your focus to what it is you want to manifest more of in your life. And so awareness is the baseline for that. Awareness is the foundation. And from awareness, from self-awareness, it breeds what I refer to as pillar 2 in the manifesting formula, which is clarity. Okay, so clarity, you have to get clear on what it is you actually want. Again, whether this is for your health, for your life, for your business, whatever it is you're trying to up level. Mindfulness will help you do this. When you practice mindfulness on a daily basis, you're going to become more aware on a daily basis. You're going to have more clarity on a daily basis. And when you get clear on what you really want, then you're able, to really have like a clear communication with the universe. But there's a trick here that you want to be focused on. A lot of people, when they're trying to manifest, they try to get clear on what they want and how they want it to come to them and when and why and by who. And they're getting way too detailed. So when it comes to gaining clarity, you actually focus on your what you want it and why you want it. And that's it. The rest you have to leave open and have to sort of have trust in the universe and trust in yourself and trust in following your intuitive guidance, which mindfulness will help you cultivate in taking your next steps. So mindfulness breeds awareness, awareness breeds clarity, and with consistency, you can actually rewire your brain for this. And again, I want to just dial this back. It's when we talk about the mind, body, spirit connection, so often you hear that term, but people aren't talking about the mind, body, brain connection. And you really have to incorporate the brain in it too, because so much of what what you're doing on a regular basis is conditioned by your habits, which is wired in your brain, and you have the power to rewire that. So I'm just going to jump over to my page real quick and see if there's anybody jumping on there. If you have any questions, go ahead and post your questions below, because I'm going to get to them in a little bit at the end of this. I'm going to share some tips, though, on how to create a mindfulness daily routine and just some tips on mindfulness that don't necessarily involve having to meditate, but meditation is what is documented scientifically to be so effective that you only have to do it for like 20 minutes a day to get the benefits of mindfulness. So go ahead and post any questions that you have while I hop over to my group real quick and make sure they are still receiving this live stream. Perfect. Okay. So I want to bring it back to you and talk a little bit about awareness. You've probably heard of the phrase, energy flows where your attention goes. And so this is the spiritual law of attention. And you probably have heard of the spiritual law of attraction, and that's probably the most common spiritual law. But there's so many other ones that when you learn how to incorporate these, you really do have a formula that you can use to manifest. And I'm going to get into the 7 pillars of manifesting in the third video because there's some things you have to know to make sure that you're not allowing your ego to run the train in the manifesting process, because it doesn't work that way. It's not something that can be forced. So I'll go into that in video 3. Tomorrow we're going to talk about more about mindset and how to shifting between from a pessimistic or a mindset of doubt or worry into a more optimistic mindset, and how that sort of parlays into the manifesting process as well. Are there any questions? And if we are just joining me, go ahead and say where you're from. I'd love to know what part of the world you're jumping in on. Any tips for people who are beginners to meditating? Yes, Selena, thank you for joining. I will address that here in the Q&A section for sure. I'm just actually getting to that here real quick, because I'm going to leave some tips and then answer more questions. So, perfect. I love your question. Thank you for that. Intuitive thought, trust your gut. Yes, I love that. Thank you, Nate. Let me just make sure. Not missing anybody. Canada, perfect. Thank you, Selena, for joining in. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you. Okay, so we've covered so far on a scientific level, mindfulness is in. This is ancient wisdom that's now documented in modern neuroscience. And if you are trying to incorporate any change, I just want to reiterate this, in your life, whether it's with your life, because most likely if you're here, you're trying to manifest something, which means you're trying to change something, because manifesting is the process of creating something from something else. It's the process of change. So it's the process of stepping into something new in your life or in your business or in your health. So it's important to know that fear will show up, and that's normal, and your brain is wired to do it. And so that's one of the things I want to talk about when I get into the tips for meditating. I might as well just talk about it now. A lot of beginners, if you're new to this meditation process, there's a misconception or a myth that you have to quiet your mind to meditate. And I just wanted to state that that's a myth. Your brain is actually wired to think. Your brain is constantly sizing up its environment, moving towards pleasure or away from pain. That's what your brain does. It's here to help you survive and stay safe. And so you're constantly going to be sizing up your environment. And that's where, you have to give yourself a little bit of leeway when you're meditating, especially if you're just starting out, because that's the number one obstacle I hear. So I just want to give you a heads up so you don't get frustrated. It's a frustrating process for many because they read or they hear that they're supposed to quiet their mind. And I would say you have to release that expectation because it's not realistic, okay? And it will cause frustration, and then you'll quit and you won't go back to it, and you won't reap the benefits that you could have received from actually making mindfulness an actual daily practice. So that's one myth of meditation that I wanted to throw out there for beginners. I hope that helps. Thank you, Gabe, for the shout out for the Habit Lab. That's one of my courses for beginners to learn how to meditate and create a mindfulness daily practice. So actually, if you share this video, you could actually win free access to the Habit Lab. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks for that shout out there, Gabe. And okay, so when you're doing a mindfulness meditation, it's going to be a little different than trying to focus your attention. So now we're going to get into the tips here for a second, because I really want to leave you with some takeaways. With mindfulness meditation, you become aware of your thoughts. You don't try to change them. You don't try to quiet them as they appear to you. So it doesn't have to be a frustrating process. So tip 1, when you're starting a mindfulness meditation, is I always like to imagine the thoughts that are coming into my mind as like visualize them in a bubble, and just sort of watching the bubble in my mind's eye float away. And your brain will come to you, and your mind will come to you with all sorts of thoughts and things that are urgent, your ego is going to think are urgent, that you need to pay attention to. And you just thank it for the information and say, I can get to that later. It's like you can get to that later. Thank you. And you sort of have that feeling as you're meditating, and you just visualize it drifting away. You can picture it in a cloud, picture it in a balloon, but visualize the thoughts that are coming to you. Immediately put them and let them float. Put them into a cloud or a bubble or whatever you want to visualize, and allow them to float away. Then it reduces the anxiety or the stress or the frustration of trying to be perfect at the process, and it helps you release it. Become aware of it. Don't judge the thoughts that come up. Don't try to figure out if they're right or wrong, or if they make sense or not, or if they're logical or not, because that's not important. You don't want to get into going back and forth while you're in meditation trying to figure something out. That's the ego. So you just want to release and let go. You just want to release and let go. Release and let go. And you just continue to do that process. So the thoughts popping in are no longer frustrating. It's just a process, and you know that they're going to happen. So you don't have to get frustrated with the process at all. And I actually have guided meditations for beginners too in the Habit Lab, if that's something that you're interested in. But I'm going to share with you some of the same techniques that I do in the guided meditations right now. So once you get comfortable in your meditation, you center yourself with some breaths. You imagine yourself being relaxed. I usually start visualizing the top of your head and your eyes, and you just visualize a wave working through your body, relaxing your body as you go, starting from your head, the crown of your head, all the way to your feet. And you start at the head because you have a lot more, small muscle groups, and the more you relax those, the quicker you get into a relaxation response. And so you want to be able to calm from the crown down and just get settled. Once you get settled, you can bring your awareness to sounds in the room, and I'll focus on the sounds that are closest to me for about a minute, and then I'll focus on sounds that are further away for about another minute or so, and then I'll focus in on any feelings that I have within my heart area or in my gut, working my way into where we hold a lot of emotion, which is our third chakra and our heart chakra. And so I'll focus in on that, and then bring your awareness all the way into whether you're laying down, you're probably in a seated position, the feeling of you making contact with the earth beneath you, or the meditation cushion that you're sitting on. And so you start to bring awareness to some of the physical sensations that you're having, physical sensations of what it feels like to have your hands resting on your lap, or what it feels like to have the breath coming in and out of your nose. Bring your awareness to your sense of taste, and you'll be able to taste what your mouth tastes like, or what your teeth feel like as they rest, inside your lips. And so you just bring awareness to all of your different senses, and as the thoughts come in, you simply release them. So this is instantly going to help you relax, and the other thing that it's going to help you do is bring you into the present moment. So that's key, and that's one of the hugest benefits of mindfulness, is bringing you into the present moment, because in the present moment you breed awareness, which I talked about as pillar 1 for manifesting. And from that present moment, this is important, from the present moment you don't have fear of past experiences possibly repatterning themselves in your life, and you don't have future worry about things happening. In the present moment, you don't have worry, and you don't have doubt, and you don't have fear. And so the more you can train your brain on a neurological level to bring yourself into the present moment, the less you're going to experience those emotions, and the quicker, each time it gets easier for you not to fall into those patterns. And so bringing yourself into the present moment is key. And mindfulness is a way for you to do that. So sitting in meditation is one. And so I'm going to lead into the tips right now. So you really want to start a daily morning practice, because you really want to kickstart your day with this kind of routine, so that way you can lead your day with a lot of awareness before you get thrown a lot of the obstacles that are going to come your way. It's really easy to get caught up in some of the obstacles that your day is going to bring. But what mindfulness does is it helps increase it helps lower your reactivity to things. So it gives you more time to actually, thank you for the heart there, it gives you more time to contemplate your response to things. So you're able to respond in a conscious way versus just react with your knee-jerk reactions. Because when you're reacting with your knee-jerk reactions, you're operating off of your pattern belief systems, which may or may not be serving you. When you operate from present moment conscious awareness, you're able to choose how it is you want to react. You're able to sort of filter out what's no longer serving you and make a wiser decision. So bringing yourself into the present moment early in the day and starting a mindfulness daily routine is key, because if you do it consistent for 60 to 90 days, it's going to help rewire your brain, and it's going to set the tone for your entire day. Now, how do you take it off the meditation cushion into your life? I'm going to leave you with a few more tips, so that way you can incorporate this in your daily life, not just on the meditation cushion. But so I recommend a 60 to 90 day daily mindfulness routine, and you can access that inside the Habit Lab if you're interested. The external reminder, some kind of anchor, is my other tip. Something that will remind you to pause, reflect, and check in with yourself. Check into how you're feeling. Check into what's going on in your environment, how you're reacting to it. And so it can be something like maybe a bracelet that you wear, and every single time you look at the bracelet, it reminds you to check in with yourself. Another thing you could do is, set an alarm on your phone that goes off every few, hours or something like that, or every hour, just a little bell that goes off. There's plenty of apps that you can actually get for your phone that are, created specifically for this reason as a reminder for you to check in. So that's an anchor. And I would give myself an anchor that you can check in, that prompts you to pause and reflect and go inward as many times a day as you can think of. I personally like to use anytime I'm getting in or out of my car, because I'm always driving for appointments. And so a lot of times before I get out of my car, after I turn off the keys, I'll sit there there's no music on or anything distracting, and I'll sit there for 30 seconds to a minute and just check in with myself and focus in. And it constantly brings me back to the present moment. So when I go to the grocery store, when I go to a client meeting, when I go to the gym, I know I'm constantly getting in and out of my car. So I use getting in and out of my car as a prompt, as an anchor, something to remind me to go inward, okay? So that's tip number 2. You don't have to practice mindfulness just meditating, although meditating is proven very effective if you can do it for at least 20 minutes. I recommend just trying to start out with 7 minutes or so and then working your way up to that. So tip number 3 is using a mantra. And this is really good to incorporate maybe after your anchor has prompted you to go inward. And what I'll do, it's very important, is I'll say to myself, I breathe in confidence and breathe out doubt. So you focus in on what you're working on right now in your life, and you breathe in what you want to cultivate, obviously, and you breathe out what you want to release. And you set that intention. So we're working with the law of intention at this point too, which is actually pillar number 3, as far as the, pillar number 3 for my 7-pillar manifesting formula. So the first pillar is awareness, the second pillar is clarity, and the third pillar is intention. When you start working with your intention, you'll invoke that law, the spiritual law of intention in your life. So that's my recommended mantra is I breathe in what you want to cultivate, and I breathe out what you want to release. So let's go ahead, and if you want to take a second to go ahead and do that, let's take a second. Just close your eyes for a second, unless you're driving, of course, listening to me, and just take a second to focus in on what it is you really want to cultivate in your life. And here's the thing. You want it to be one of your innermost values, something that's really connected with your core desires. So find that one thing that you really want to cultivate in your life, and take a deep breath and sort of just inhale and then exhale just 2 or 3 times, just to sort of release any tension. Bring yourself into focused awareness, into this present moment. And after you've taken a few breaths to relax, go ahead and repeat your mantra either to yourself or out loud. I breathe in confidence or joy or love. And you breathe out what it is, the opposite of that you want to release. And so you can try this many times throughout the day, wherever you're at. I do it, like I said, a lot of times after my prompt, which is getting out of my car. I also wear, a bracelet that reminds me to check in. So you can do this whenever, and you can do it at work. You can do it on your lunch break. You can do it on the subway. It doesn't matter. You can do it wherever you're at, and it'll immediately bring you into the present moment. It will immediately release you from fear, anxiety, and worry. And here's the thing. To understand with manifesting 101 is you attract what you feel. It's not about what you're saying out loud necessarily. It's really what you feel. If you say that I manifest abundance, but you're not feeling abundant, you're not manifesting abundance. You really have to believe and be in line with what it is you want to manifest through your feelings. And so obviously, if you're in a state of feeling fear, anxiety, or worry, what are you going to be manifesting? This is the law of attraction. What are you going to be manifesting? You're going to be attracting more events or circumstance in your life that attracts fear, anxiety, or worry. So we have to be able to work on a mental level, on a mindset level, on a neurological level to be able to release these fears, anxieties, and worries and switch it into a more confident, optimistic place, because the feelings that are emanating from you are literally your vibration and what you are putting out into the universe and what you're attracting back. So mindfulness is the ultimate baseline tool and technique that you can use on a regular, daily, hourly basis to be able to boost your self-confidence, boost your self-esteem, boost your natural healing abilities, your immunity, your confidence levels, and reduce stress, anxiety, and worry and self-doubt. If you have stress, anxiety, worry, and self-doubt, you're not going to be manifesting what you truly want for yourself, right? So we have to be working not only on the spiritual level with the energy principles, like the law of attraction or the law of intention or the law of clarity or the law of focused attention, but we also have to be working on a mind and neurological level. And I say mind and neurological because they're separate. Your mind is different than your brain. Okay, so we need to be able to work on all of these levels. It's a holistic process. Holistic means mind, body, spirit, everything incorporated, and I'm going to add to that mind, body, brain, heart, spirit, because they're all connected, and we have to be working on all of these levels at all the time. And so I hope this has given you a little bit of insight into the meditation process or the mindfulness process, released a little bit of your anxiety around that if you're frustrated as a new beginner meditating, sort of piecing together the pieces on how it works on a scientific level with your brain and with your brain body connect, your brain mind and connection, but also how it works on an energetic and spiritual connection. Okay, your inner reality creates your outer reality. I'm going to repeat this because if there's nothing that you take away, if this is the one thing that you take away from this training, you have to understand that your inner reality creates your outer reality, and you can see that happening when you work with the manifesting process directly, which I'm going to go into on video 3 on Thursday on how to actually test this process and start manifesting things and see how long it takes for things to show up in your experience. But also on a physical level, your thoughts and feelings and emotions and what you believe to be true about yourself and how you perceive the world dictates your attitude. Your attitude dictates how you're going to show up. Thank you for the hearts. I love them. Thank you. Your attitudes are going to dictate the actions that you take, because the manifesting process is also not about just sitting there and planting, intentions. You actually have to take inspired action. Well, if you're taking action based off of fear or doubt or worry, and you're taking fear-based actions, you're not going to manifest your highest and greatest good. And you can see that when you have a perception or an attitude, you're going to take a certain action versus, and so those attitudes reflect outward outside of you, and then that manifests into physical reality. This is not woo-woo stuff. The manifesting process is very much scientific stuff. Your inner reality creates your outer reality. Most people will hear that and think that it sounds very metaphysical, and in a way it is, because there are spiritual laws that support this process and support that as well, but it's also proven scientifically. So I think I've drilled that home with you enough that this is ancient wisdom meeting modern science. I would say modern science probably catching up to ancient wisdom, actually. And my passion is to sort of bridge the two together and help you utilize them in a practical way that will help you make a difference. And so is anybody here after watching this video interested in starting a mindfulness daily practice? If you are, go ahead and post. Sorry, I'm getting bombarded with Facebook messages and I'm trying to, okay. I hope you're still there. Okay, so if anybody is inspired to start a mindfulness practice after this video, go ahead and post your comments below. And I just wanted to leave you with, it doesn't have to be long. You can start with 5 minutes, work your way up to aim for maybe 20 minutes. find a place that can be quiet for you in the morning. Maybe get up just a few minutes earlier than everybody else in your house. Let other people know that you want to start this process for yourself as part of your own self-reflective growth process, and that, you know, a little quiet time is necessary for you in the morning. So you want to set those healthy boundaries if it's a little chaotic in your morning. You can try it at night too. I just always recommend starting in the morning because I feel like it really helps set the tone of your day. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and post them below. I'm going to switch over just to the group real quick and see if there's any questions over there. And let me see here. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so again, tomorrow I'm going to be tuning in with you again, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, to talk about mindset. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about that now. Just tune in tomorrow live if you're interested in that. And it's going to be about cultivating, you know, an optimistic mindset. And then on the third day is really exciting because I'm going to tie all this in together. I did talk about manifesting today, but I'm going to tie this in with my 7-pillar formula on Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and leave you with some tips on how to test the manifesting process and sort of get out of your own way and overcome some of the blocks, because that's really what's getting in the way of your manifesting process is the blocks, because you're already a very high vibe being. It's just a matter of understanding how to navigate these little nuances with, you know, mindset and how your brain is wired, and being able to recognize the emotional fear or fear-based beliefs that pop up as you try to incorporate change into your life, change or transformation of any kind. And so my 7-pillar formula will help you immensely if you apply that. And it's really exciting to start working with that process, because as you gain your own experiential knowledge with it and you see it work for you, because it's one thing to listen to me talk about it, it's another thing to read it in a book, but when you actually start to do it yourself and gain experience with it personally, then your trust factor goes way up with yourself and with the universe. And when your trust factor goes up, that allows you to settle into the manifesting process with more ease. It's imperative that you test this process so you have that experiential knowledge for yourself. Otherwise, you're not gonna sync up with the information. It's not gonna connect with you. So you really want to show up for all 3 trainings if you can, especially the third one, which sort of ties it all together. And just wanted to see real quick if anybody has any questions. Thank you, Nate. Thank you for the positive feedback. I love that. Thank you. Did I answer your question, Selena, regarding any tips for beginners for meditating? If you're still here and you have any other questions, go ahead and pop them in below. I want to make sure I answer your questions. And if you're watching this replay, post your questions below, because I'll still answer them, even though I'm not live anymore. So don't worry about that. Rihanna, if you have any questions, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Go ahead and post your questions below. Thank you for joining in live. And Shannon, if you're still here, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in below. Gabe, any questions? Thank you for joining live. Let's see here. Perfect, thank you. I'm glad it helped. Actually, if you want to learn any good books, one book that I really like that really ties in the science behind it and helps you understand how your brain works and provides a lot of these studies is Neuro Wisdom. Neuro Wisdom is a really good book on meditation, but the science behind it, I loved it. I absorbed it in like a day. So Neuro Wisdom is one book that I would recommend. I can't remember who the author was. But if you like to read, I'm a reader too, then yeah, definitely get Neuro Wisdom. And the rest of the meditation process is very intuitive, so you'll be naturally guided. If you're on this video and you're interested in this topic, trust that it's for a reason, because this information, if you're resonating with it at all, or you've been drawn to this video to incorporate some of these principles in your life, it's for a reason. So when you actually sit down to start to incorporate these principles, plant the intention that you want to connect with your higher guidance and your intuition. And when you set that intention up front, that you want the highest and greatest good for you, and that you want to release the blocks that are getting in the way of manifesting what it is you truly want in your life, whether it's on a wellness level, a physical level, a relationship level, a career level, just a lifestyle level, whatever it is, it's a very powerful thing. And I'll probably share some of my own personal stories in the third video of my own manifesting. But sit down with the intention of what it is you want. Let your awareness breed clarity on what it is you truly want, because a lot of people will live their life and not actually get clear on what it is they want and why they want it. So you got to know what it is you want and why you want it, and start to connect with the feeling of that. And I'm going to get into that on the third video when I tie all this together. But take the time maybe to start, if you're going to plan on making all 3 videos, which I hope you do, try meditating today and tomorrow, and join me tomorrow, and then try meditating, for the next 3 days, and bring your experience. So I'll be here at the same time. So if you guys want to try this, pop in, tell me how it went, meditate tonight, tell me tomorrow. I'll help overcome any blocks or obstacles that you might have run into during the meditation process. And then we'll go from there. So it's a work in progress. Know that. You're not supposed to sit down and just be able to meditate overnight and be perfect at it. I've been meditating for years. I still have thoughts that pop up. I still have, I don't quiet my mind completely. And that's sort of the beauty of it. You can start to see where your mind goes when it's left unchecked. But the releasing process is the key. That's the beauty of this. It brings you into the present moment and you can release it. Because ultimately, when you're going through your life, you're not going to be able to filter out all of the different crap that's coming to you, right? And some of it may be good and some of it may be perceived as bad. You want to be able to cultivate the skill where you are able to easily release it and move forward with trust that the universe is supporting you, and that there's a process here, and that we're spiritual beings having this physical experience, and that there are tools and techniques that have been known for thousands of years that we can actually work with, that are now proven by modern science to help us work through this process. So that's my hope, that you're sort of getting from these trainings this week, and maybe asking yourself some important questions on what it is you want and getting clear on that. Thank you, Selena. I'm glad that you're connecting with the message. Thank you for that. And yes, Nate. Thank you. Okay, you guys. Well, do your meditations tonight. Tune in tomorrow. Tune in Thursday. I would love for you to pop up with your experiences, and then we'll go from there. So I hope your day finds you well, and practice the anchor technique if you want today. Find something that you can look at on a regular basis today, or try meditating. So the 3 techniques were meditate for at least 5 minutes. Try that. Find an anchor tool, or an anchor, to help you connect to prompt you to connect, to go inward and pause and self-reflect and come into the present moment. And then when you do get into the present moment, the 3rd tip was to practice your mantra, which is find what it is you truly want to attract in your life. And here's the thing I'll tell you. When you're trying to manifest, what it is you're really trying to manifest is the feeling that you get behind it. So when you're creating your mantra, and I share this inside the Habit Lab, when we sort of like reverse engineer our mantra and our intention and our core desire in the Habit Lab. For example, if you want to manifest more money in your life or prosperity, what is that feeling behind that thing that you want to manifest? Is it security? Is it confidence? Is it the feeling of success? Is it comfort? What is the feeling behind what it is that you actually physically want to manifest? Because that's what you're ultimately going for. Then you use that feeling. That's your core desire. That's the essence of what it is you want to cultivate. That's what's going to bring it to you, okay? That's what's going to help you manifest it. I don't want to give away too much because this is a lot of the 3rd training, but for the purpose of creating your mantra, reverse engineer your manifestation of what you want to manifest more in your life. If it's a loving relationship, why? Does it give you a sense of comfort, or does it give you a sense of feeling lovable or feeling loved? Okay, well then your mantra is, I breathe in love and release feeling inadequate or whatever, so you use the essence of what it is that you want to manifest, and you plug that into your mantra of, I breathe in what you want to attract, and I breathe out what I want to release, and use the essence of what you actually want to manifest. Okay, so hopefully you can tune in with me on Wednesday and Thursday. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me live. I love it. And I think that's it for today. Again, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and post your questions, because I'll still get to them. And if you're watching this on my Facebook page, if you share this video on your page, you actually will be entered into winning a free pass into the Habit Lab, which is a 12-week mindfulness course, which walks you through setting up a daily mindfulness routine and a self-reflective process through journaling, along with cultivating inspired habits that are based off of your core desire and the essence of what it is you truly want to manifest in your life. And it also walks you through overcoming a lot of the obstacles and the blocks that you're going to run up against, like the ego-driven emotional fear and the limited beliefs, and it helps you repattern those, reframe those, and also it's full of guided meditations to help you. And I don't want to spoil it, but you can actually, I'll post a link to it below in the comments section if you're interested in that. If you are interested in that and you want a chance to win it for free, then just share this video on your profile and you'll get entered to win it for free. So I hope this finds you well. I'll tune in with you again tomorrow. And namaste. Thank you, Selena. Hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that was able to show up live today. I love it. Thank you, Rihanna. Wow, from all over the world. Amazing. I love it. See you soon. Namaste.